Welcome to the City Commission meeting for Tuesday, February 22nd, 2022. You may notice a little bit of difference up here today. Our mayor is on the way to Frankfurt to conduct some city business with state legislators. We also have a commissioner absent. However, 3 people on our Board of Commissioners represents a quorum, so we're going to get started. If you would, please stand with me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Can we have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Staton.
Here.
Commissioner Thomas is absent. Commissioner Vallis.
Here.
Commissioner Pruitt.
Here.
Mayor Austin is absent.
All right, and we have a presentation, but before we get to the presentations, are there any guests in the audience who would like to bring anything before the City Commission that is not on the agenda? Hearing nothing, I will ask Marie to move on into the presentations part, please.
Keith Cox has served as the leader of Henderson Police Department since the fall of 2018, following former Chief Chip Stauffer's retirement at the end of 2017. In his 20-plus years with HPD, Cox worked on patrol, investigations, and as a school resource officer before rising up the ranks with a broad range of experience to take the top leadership role for the department. And I'm going to apologize in advance. I was not very prepared today. Heath was awarded Officer of the Year for the year ending 2008 and was named Police Department Employee of the Month in July 2011. He also served as a member of the HPD basketball team in 2009 during the Guns N' Hoses charity event. When he became police chief, he said one major goal was to focus on rebuilding the department and recruiting new employees in the face of the many looming retirements of officers that has been on the force for many years. His community involvement has included the Henderson Leadership Initiative Program, the Police Foundation, NAACP, Henderson County Human Rights Commission, and most recently, organizing relief efforts following the December 2021 tornadoes in western Kentucky. All of those things underscore the importance of building relationships and maintaining them throughout our community. We're very happy and very pleased to have you with us tonight to present your watch for your year's service.
Chief, I was very happy to be on the commission who was able to recognize what you have done for this community service and promoted you to be our police chief. I'm proud of the job that you have done. I'm proud of the job that all of our police department has done under your watch. We are certainly sad to see you go, but please accept this as a token of our appreciation and congratulations on your retirement.
I just want to say I am extremely, you want me to open it?
Please.
Okay. See if I can do 2 things at once. I'm extremely grateful for the opportunity that I was given as a 21-year-old kid to live out a dream of being a police officer. And also got to do so many things throughout my career. Got to be in investigations and an instructor and move up in supervision. Because the one thing, I wanted to become a supervisor to help make things better, especially during that time where the department was. And so I thank you all for the opportunity to lead the only department I've ever worked for. I'm extremely grateful because without, this is a team, and we all work together moving forward to get what we need to recruit the best people to serve the citizens. And so I know you all have been so instrumental as city leadership, and I can't say enough about what Buzzy has, the city manager, Buzzy Newman, has done to help the police department and bring all these issues, and I know I wear you all out, but we have really done a good job of bringing good, solid people to the Henderson Police Department. So I'm just eternally grateful. I'm content and also blessed to be a police officer. So thank you, and And hopefully on the 28th, you can come to the police department at 2 p.m. and then we'll have cake.
Oh, yeah. See, let me say something, I'd be remiss if I didn't say something. I too just want to say how great a police chief you have been for the citizens of Henderson. And I am sad that you're leaving, because you are the template of the type of police chief that the people of Henderson deserve, and you did it well, and you did it up here. I just want to say thank you for everything.
Appreciate that. Thank you so much.
We have a municipal order on transferring real property, 731 North Elm Street.
Municipal order number 0722, municipal order approving special warranty deed with a right of reentry between the City of Henderson and Cliff Hagen Boys and Girls Club Incorporated, doing business as Boys and Girls Club of Henderson, for the property located at 731 North Elm Street, former National Guard Armory facility, and authorizing the mayor to sign the deed on behalf of the city.
Have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion or questions regarding this action? Roll call, please.
Hold it before we go.
Oh, sorry, yes, sir.
On the one part, say like if it ceases to be a Boys and Girls Club and the transfer back over to the city,
Yes,
and for 6 months, you said right after 6 months, it
6
transfers.
months. We have the right to and the way that the law works now, used to it was an automatic reversion, but now you have to take action. But yes, we have a reversion written into it and the right to reenter.
That was in it.
All right, any other questions or discussion? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Staton?
Aye.
Commissioner Vowell?
Aye.
Commissioner Pruitt?
Aye.
All right, we have a municipal order authorizing an easement to Kinergy.
Municipal order number 08-22, municipal order authorizing electric facilities easement between the City of Henderson and Kinergy Corporation, and authorizing mayor to execute the easement on behalf of the City of Henderson.
Can I have a motion, please? Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Are there any questions or discussion?
I'll just tell you, this is part of the Pratt project, allowing Energy to come in over our property.
All right, roll call, please.
Commissioner Staton?
Aye.
Commissioner Vowell?
Aye.
Commissioner Pruitt?
Aye.
We have a resolution declaring the intent of HWU bond reimbursement.
Resolution number 03-22, resolution declaring the city's intent to reimburse itself for the cost of capital expenditures from the proceeds of tax-exempt obligations.
All right, before we get a motion, Tom, do you have anything you'd like to add about this?
Well, not really. This is something that we do every time we issue bonds, so that we can reimburse ourselves for expenses that we have now before the bonds are issued. So this just allows us to go back and repay ourselves from the bond proceeds.
All right, thank you, sir. Can we have a motion and a second, please?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion or questions regarding this? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Staton?
Aye.
Commissioner Vowell?
Aye.
Commissioner Pruitt?
Aye.
We have a municipal order awarding a bid for mowing for city properties.
Municipal order number 09-22, municipal order awarding bids for mowing of city properties as follows. Group A1 to CTL Services, LLC of Morganfield, Kentucky, and Group A3 to Brandon's Lawn and Landscaping of Henderson, Kentucky.
All right, before we get a motion, Trace, would you like to stand on this, please?
Sure, thanks. This is for the mowing of Group A1, which is city park property, which encompasses Hayes Park, Atkinson Park, and part of the Riverwalk up to 12th Street. The contractor that we're recommending for this is CTL Mowing and Contracting. They currently mow and maintain the property at Henderson Henderson Deacon. So they currently maintain their property. They also do work for the Codes Department when they handle complaints or any issues like that. So I've checked their references, and I'm willing to recommend them for that.
All right, stick around just for a second. We have a motion and a second, please?
Motion. So moved.
All right, second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any questions or discussion for Trace? All right, thank you, sir. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Staton?
Aye.
Commissioner Val?
Aye.
Commissioner Pruitt?
Aye.
We have municipal order awarding a bid for mowing for the city cemeteries.
Municipal Order 10-22, municipal order awarding bid for mowing of city cemeteries to Knight's Landscaping LLC of Henderson, Kentucky.
All right, Trace, you have something to add on this one, please?
We rebid this contract, but the same vendor that's been mowing it in the past has won the contract again. So this is their sixth time winning that contract, so it's the same vendor we've had, it's just we had to renew it because it ended their term. There was a price increase with the renewal, for their annual contract, but they were still the lowest bidder.
All right, do we have a motion?
So moved. Second.
And we got a second. Any questions or discussion? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Staton?
Aye.
Commissioner Val?
Aye.
Commissioner Pruitt?
Aye.
Thank you, Trace. We have a municipal order approving Texas Gas Interconnect agreement.
Municipal Order number 11-22, municipal order approving delivery interconnect agreement between Texas Gas Transmission LLC and Henderson Municipal Gas, and authorizing Tim Clayton Gas System Director to execute the agreement on behalf of the city.
Do we have a motion on this, please?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
All right, discussion?
I just make the commission aware that this agreement is part of the Pratt Industries project, and it is part of what we have presented to the commission prior to today, and this is the city's contribution toward the overall project, and basically the expenses for rebuilding and enlarging the gas meter system for Texas Gas.
Everything come in pretty much like we expected?
Well, let me say this, for Texas Gas, they give you a price. We were able to negotiate it down. We were at $2.7 million, and after some negotiations and discussions, we were able to get to $2.3 million. It's just to make you aware, this is just one component of three that has to be completed as part of the overall project for Pratt. In the future weeks to come, we will be bringing forward additional material purchases for the gas line project itself, as well as construction contracts. And if you would like to mention maybe the announcement we heard today about the DRA.
Yeah, we were given some very good news today. We were given, I believe, was it 555, is that correct?
555, yeah.
$555,000 DRA grant to go toward this project. We still have some outstanding grants in the works too, is that right?
That is correct. Through the U.S. Department of Commerce, Economic Development Administration.
So there are a lot of moving pieces that we've discussed over the last several months with Pratt, this being one of them. Nothing is coming as any kind of big surprise. However, it is a big expenditure. But we do have, did we get a motion and a second on this one already? No.
Yes, we have a motion.
We have a motion and a second? All right. Any more questions or discussion involving this? We good? All right. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Staton?
Aye.
Commissioner Val?
Aye.
Commissioner Pruitt?
Aye.
All right. We have a municipal order amending an agreement with HDR Engineering.
Municipal Order number 12-22, municipal order approving amendment number 1 to agreement for engineering services between HDR Engineering Incorporated and the City of Henderson for engineering services relating to the TIF assistance and authorizing the mayor to execute the amended agreement on behalf of the city.
Dawn, before we get a motion on this, would you like to expand on this
Sure.
a little, please?
I think, we've talked, previously about, the tax increment financing, possibilities that the city has in, the rebuild of I-69 and the rebuild of the 60 interchange. One of the things that we are looking at is going for a state TIF, and we will have to have, financing, proposals to give to the state, and to, get the state approval. This company is going to help us do this. They have done this for Paducah. This is the last, organization that they did, and they were able to help us get that. So we'll work with them along with, one of their partners to look at doing a state TIF along Highway 60 from the Cloverleaf out to almost the viaduct is what we are considering at this time. We've been in talks with other partner organizations that may be willing to go into the TIF with us as well.
Right. Before we get to any discussion or questions, can I get a motion, please? All right, we have a second?
Second.
Okay, and I just wanted to add, in addition to that, the reason that we look at TIFs is when we believe or have reason to believe that there is a strong chance that there is a large amount of money that will be invested in development projects in any one area of the city, so that we can take advantage of that and hopefully encourage more development alongside that development. And that's what's going on with this particular TIF. Are there any questions or comments regarding this before we get a vote?
Comment, TIF does nothing to actually raise taxes.
No.
Captures additional tax, incremental increases in taxes.
Right. It captures the increase in the value of property, so the increase in current taxes and that, and then it puts it into a fund that we can then earmark for development projects along that corridor to help, as you said, encourage more development.
And one of the things that I really like about this specific TIF is it gives us the opportunity, if approved, to capture tax dollars that are currently leaving Henderson and going elsewhere and bringing them here and localizing them for targeted development within our city. And so I really think it's a smart idea to do. I'm glad you're looking at it. Any other questions or discussion?
One additional item, at our meeting in March, we will be bringing forward an agreement with a marketing firm that is required as part of the application process, and just to advise you of that.
All right, we have a roll call, please.
Commissioner Staton?
Aye.
Commissioner Vowell?
Aye.
Commissioner Pruitt?
Aye.
Okay, we have a municipal order approving a statement of work with Integration Partners for a new phone system.
Municipal order number 13-22, municipal order approving statement of work between the City of Henderson and Integration Partners for the replacement of the municipal center phone system and authorizing the city manager to execute the statement of work on behalf of the city.
All right, Greg, did you have something to add before we get to the?
This is a replacement for a Samsung phone system that we've had for a number of years. This is also going to give us the ability to connect to the police department's phone system, the municipal services center, and also HWU, just for local, extension calling, things like that, voicemail to email, a lot of other, and even, just some ways to automate a few things.
Thank you, sir. Before we get to any discussion, can I get a motion, please?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, do we have any questions or discussion for Greg or for anybody before we take a vote? Thank you, sir.
All right,
Roll call,
thank you.
please.
Commissioner Staton?
Aye.
Commissioner Vowell?
Aye.
Commissioner Pruitt?
Aye.
All right, city manager report.
I'll ask Brian Williams to come to the podium, please, and give an update on Springs cleanup and the recycling.
I'll give you an extra one too. I'll just give you, you'll notice in your trash pickup that you'll see some new faces in your sanitation crews. We've had some turnover. So in turn, that's given some opportunity to some of those existing guys to move up the ladder, as well as some of the temporaries we've had to become full-time employees. So, and it's possible in the next coming months that we may have a little bit more turnover with some retirement. It's possible one of the guys move into a different city department. So have some fresh faces in the sanitation department. So, I'll give you just a brief kind of update how we are on as far as the recycling pickup. And this is kind of just rough, but over the last year and a half, the recycling has grown from around 2,450 house counts per every other week when they pick up to around 2,600 now. So it's around 150, probably maybe a little bit more increase from where we were before that. So we're growing some. The tonnage has basically stayed the same, but I think some of that's contributed to the glass product being taken out of the waste stream, a lot of it anyway, so that may be part of that. Over the last year and a half or so, we've purchased around 220 96-gallon containers, and they've cost us anywhere from $65 to $75 a container, depending on what the price at the time. So that's kind of what we've done on that part. Currently, we have around 40 96-gallon containers left. We also have around 25 35-gallon containers. Some of these people in the past had the smaller one, and they've asked to trade. So in return, we still have some of the bigger ones, still have some of the smaller ones, and some people are okay with using the smaller ones. If it's maybe a single person in the household, they don't have as much waste. That's kind of how we stand on where we are on that. And as far as our list of requests, we're able to keep that down to pretty well, as they call, within the same week, we usually get something out. So we're doing pretty well on that. The biggest issues we've had with recycling so far, since when advanced disposal sold to waste management, whenever they changed over, the calls that the public calls in about they missed my recycling goes to a national call center. And the city is listed kind of as an account, so when people call and tell them such and such address, it doesn't register in their bank. So they tell the people that we don't serve that area. So that's been kind of confusing, but now we've been working on it for months and months, and they think that they're getting close to having that issue resolved, that whenever they call that complaint number, it should go and someone should be able to register where they can document it and send it out or make sure it's taken care of. So for the most part, that's been the biggest issue with the recycling is the ones that are not picked up in the calls that they have with, not picking up my trash or recycling.
I just want to take this opportunity to say thank you to you and David and your department specifically for how you've addressed the recycling program. I think there was a long period of time there where it might have been an underserviced program in terms of its priority within the city. And right now it seems to be running better than it has in a long time, maybe ever. And so you guys are on top of it, and thank you.
I think part of it is we didn't have enough containers to keep up with the request. So that was part of it. So it's always money that's the issue on some of this stuff. So, and of course, to stay ahead, we're going to have to buy some more in the next budget year as well, just to stay ahead.
Do you believe that the $5,000 that we've allocated in the past for annual usage is going to be enough, or should we up that for this year?
I've raised it in my budget for next year. I'm thinking more like $9,500. So
okay.
Just from the cost of the containers that have gone up, just to make sure we get an adequate number. That's my thought on it anyway.
Gotcha.
So, and I don't know how the request will continue, if they'll be often irregular. It just seems like it goes in spells. You have a spell where a number of people call all at the same time, and then you might have a few weeks you don't have any calls for it. So it's hard to outguess it. But like you say, I would rather have some on hand rather than not having them, because the time that it takes to get them, the process, it's gotten longer now too. So you don't want to wait too long. But having these other smaller containers available, that's going to help too. Someone may have to use a small one until we can get some of the others, but that's an option. Before, we just didn't have those available either. Got to have a stand on the recycling. And then the other thing was the spring cleanup. You're all aware of. We're going to do it like we did last year in 2 different phases. It seems to make it go easier on us as well as the public too. Seems like whenever we did the whole city at one time, it was cumbersome. Everyone was tied up for weeks and weeks, so it just made it a little more difficult. So what we're looking at is starting March 21st will be the south. 2nd Street South is that'll be the area that we'll pick up first. And so people need to have their stuff out by that 7 o'clock that Monday morning. That's not guaranteed it'll be picked up that Monday, but that's when we're gonna start. And we'll run up and down every street, every alley as we go through. And that, by doing that too, we'll have everybody focused in a smaller area. So it just seems like it makes things go smoother when you do that. So it's kind of the same scenario as last year. You know, you can have a small pickup size load of household trash or junk, and you can also have one small pickup load of tree limbs or brush or something like that. But you keep your piles separate. Because it depends on where the stuff goes to where, you know, is what we can do with it. So it needs to be, and keep it away from anything. Equipment to pick it up. A lot of people that have a tendency they'll want to stack it up on the side of a building or on a fence. And so when you do that, then someone has to hand move all the stuff away before you can load it. So it just makes it slower. So that's the first go around. Then the second one will be the Monday after Tri-Fest. And that'll be north of 2nd Street. That's April 25th. It'll be the same scenario. Of course, you know, it's the same rules, you know, as far as not being able to take tires, batteries, paint, oil, air conditioners, refrigerators, those type of things. The rest of it is pretty straightforward. So if you have any questions about it, if someone has a question, you know, they can call Public Works. But they don't need to get on a call list, being that we're going to, you know, go through the streets and alleys. And that seems to make things better too. We can just start and go. If we miss something, though, then they're more than welcome to call, and we'll be glad to come back and get it. If you have something over and above the size that's recommended, we'll still pick up the size advertised for free, but then we'll do a pay ticket for the remainder of it.
I'd like to make one comment. That,
Okay.
I've been in a lot of cities with a lot of youth programs, and Henderson has a clean city compared to some of the cities that I've seen, and I think we do a good job. You know, everybody says you can always improve, but when I look at Henderson's a pretty clean city.
I agree, and there's probably things we can do to do better, but then also it takes both sides. And sometimes the public, they need to do their part as well.
But we're doing a good job. Even you too, Ray, you know, with codes and seriously, codes plays a big part of keeping the city clean. But I do want to say that I was in New York, me and my son, and the wind was blowing, and newspapers and stuff was wrapping around on it. I'm thinking, this is New York City. Guys, we only live in Henderson. I know you guys can do better than that, but that's just how bad it was. It was just blowing down the street. And I was thinking, you know, Henderson, we don't have the big arenas and everything. What we do, we got a great city and great people and a clean city, and I appreciate this city.
We try. My closing thing is, Greg will have to get a better camera angle, because this one shows my. This is not good.
It's interesting that you brought up Greg and cameras, because I think that's a good segue into a future discussion there. Buzzy, you got something else for us there?
Well, Greg will be next, and Greg, if you don't care, if you give them an update on our current televised system.
Probably about a month or so ago, right before, on the day of one of our commission meetings, we lost a key piece of equipment. It's an AV modulator, and in technical terms, we say that it released the magic smoke and no longer worked. And then what it did was it took our signal and sent it over fiber to Spectrum so that they could put it out over channel 200. That device was repaired in 2010. We don't know that we can find anything to source for it right now. Now would be a perfect opportunity to try to modernize the signal. Currently, we have 4 ways of streaming. We stream over Facebook, we stream over Twitter. We have a YouTube channel, which automatically, after is ended, YouTube places the video on there
for watching for later use. We also stream over our website, which we have for a long time. And so the quality of the signal that we've been putting out is the quality we've been putting out for a long time because it had to be dumbed down to a standard definition because of the height that we have with spectrum right now. So what we'd like to do is we'd like to continue trying and improving the signals that the product that we're putting out over Facebook and all the rest of the streaming, and try that for a period of time to see how it goes, if it reaches more audience and has a better quality picture. I think you can see some of the things that we've been able to do today because of it, without that being there. Anything you'd like to add to that? Do you have any other questions for me?
I think this is something that we had discussed a couple of years ago.
Sure,
And I
it
think
was.
as a group, we decided that we were going to try to get the most bang for our buck on our useful life of our existing equipment.
Right.
And it seems that we've reached the end of that useful life.
I believe we have,
I
yes,
think we
sir,
need to
that's
do what we
correct.
need to do to get that corrected.
And I'm sure I've said it, but in a lot of ways, the Channel 200 and the way that it was currently set up was keeping us with having to use, to adapt, keep adapting for older equipment and for that older signal. So this is going to let us go forth and have a better signal.
So is there a desire from the commission to upgrade the equipment so we can continue on Channel 200?
A motion for that, maybe? Yeah, I want to make a motion.
I think we might just need a general consensus to move forward.
Consensus.
So I think I made a comment recently. Oftentimes if we're going to be discussing a topic and it's come up in a different city, we'll go through and watch other cities' meetings to see how those topics have been discussed and the questions that were asked. And when you watch the meetings from Bowling Green or Paducah or Owensboro or other places, the clarity, the camera angles, the audio, the visual, you can tell their equipment is much newer than ours. And so there is a desire, from me at least, and I think it might be the rest of the commission, to move forward and improve on that so we can improve the interaction with the public.
Right.
How we're getting that information out to the public and how they consume it, so.
Greg, any other thing you want to share as far as expenses concerned?
Yes, initially from Spectrum, what I've heard is that it would be $560 a month for us to go with a new, what they call point-to-point connection. It would be a 20 megabyte connection, and that would be digital. There would be some equipment that they would provide on our end and some equipment that they would use on their end for us to stream them the signal.
Is there any way that we can figure out how many people are consuming this program on Spectrum?
Currently, no, and I'm not sure about even if we went digital. There might be some way to log it if it's digital, but the analog right now, I asked probably about the time that it failed to see if we could see how many people we have. No, at least one.
Because you're talking about almost $7,000 a year
Yeah,
there,
roughly.
and is that just for Spectrum? Is that what you're saying?
Right, that's just for Spectrum. That's for having that, basically an internet connection or a network connection straight between us and them, like we have that we get for free now, which is a 5 to 10 megabyte connection.
Okay.
Other question, if we do this, is there any upgrade be required of the equipment in this room?
A lot of stuff needs to be replaced. Of course, projectors probably need to be replaced with maybe even monitors. We need the connections to them to be high definition, like have HDMI ran. We definitely need at least one more camera in the corner. I'd like to put some more cameras to get better shots of the commission. So,
Can you bring that cost back?
yeah, sure can. Sure can.
All right. Thank you, Greg.
All right, thank you.
That camera's picking up your ball spot too.
Did you have something else on your city manager report?
I do.
All right.
Two things. He, didn't say a lot when we were doing your presentation, but the fruit that will bear from Heath's tenure as police chief, has provided us with, an organization where he built his team with good leadership. And with that being said, in conversation, with several of y'all, I think the desire for the replacement process for police chief is one that, we look at maybe doing an appointment of an existing employee. And based upon, that being said, according to city attorney, Ms. Kelsey, is under state statute, we officially would have to interview that candidate for the position. And with a consensus today, and per our discussions, would like to proceed forward with that and bring that back to you at our first meeting in March, so we can finalize the appointment of a new police chief. And again, Chief, under your leadership, your watch, you built a great team, and this is the fruit that bears from it.
So do you need consensus from us to move
Just
forward?
acknowledge it.
Yeah, I would like to
Yeah.
give my go-ahead on that.
Okay. I have one last item. We will have to have a special call meeting this week, Dawn. I had a meeting with Pratt today, and we were advised in that meeting that Alliance Coal and West Kentucky Coal will have the deeds ready for us to close on, possibly this week, no later than Monday. So we'll need to do that in order to meet Pratt's critical timeline for their own financing.
You talking about for the rights?
Yes, the coal reserve rights. And what is happening is they will be transferring those rights to the city of Henderson. So as soon as we get a firm date for a meeting time, we'll reach back out to you.
If we could avoid noon hour on Thursday.
It won't be then. I'm thinking it'll be Friday, the latest be Monday at noon.
All right.
That's okay.
I think Dawn is gonna give us a zoning ordinance update.
I am, and I know that we, want to be out of here in 5 minutes, so this is going to be a quick one. I sent you all yesterday, the commission, the proposed changes to the zoning, ordinance regarding, recreational vehicle communities. Since Ottoman Park campground has been closed for a while, there is now interest in the community to build a recreational vehicle community, especially with incoming contractors. Apparently, this is a new way that a lot of contractors, specialty contractors, use their employees. Come to town, and instead of going into hotels or short-term rentals, they bring in their own recreational vehicles. And so we do not currently have that in our ordinance, so we need to update our zoning ordinances. Our suggestion would be that, that we make it a conditional use in the manufacturer home district. And the reason that these communities are already divided up into separate lots, so these areas are already conducive for this. And as Brian Bishop, who's been working with us, has said, the great thing about manufacturer home is they may be able to go into some floodplain areas that aren't used for anything else. So it might be a good use. Of course, they'll have to get the approval to go into floodplain. But that would be a highest best use for some property where you can't put residential structures. And I'll go back to tell you that recreational vehicle communities fall under the jurisdiction of the health department. Health departments have to come in and approve all of these. They have strict standards, and there are very complicated regs for these. So it's not just our regulations, because they'll have to be, the health department will have to come in and approve these facilities. The reason we think a conditional use instead of just allowing it is better is so that the BOZA, Board of Zoning Adjustment, has the opportunity to take a look to see if screening, if these are closer to some residential areas, if screening or some light barriers need to be placed to protect the surrounding areas. And as you all know, any conditional use can be revoked by the Board of Zoning Adjustment if, one, they aren't complying with whatever conditional use, any conditions that are placed, or if they're not used within 1 year. So the definitions that we suggest are those that other communities have, and I've provided those to you all. They're pretty simple. Recreational communities, we've already talked about, have to be approved by the health department. Also, we are going to require that they each have a lot number, separate lot numbers, because that's for Jordan, for 911. So we can put that in GIS, and so when 911 is called to a certain area, they'll be able to identify what lot. So that will provide better safety. Recreational communities will have to be approved also through the planning commission, just like any other subdivision. So any bonding requirements would go through planning so that we can make sure that they are able to maintain the roadways later. You know, often these are built, and we want to make sure that we have things in places so that these don't get run down. Permanent structures will not be allowed on any recreational vehicle space. As Ray and Steve Davis have both said, RVs are not made to live in, and they are not made or designed to be tied down from tornadoes. They are not designed to have permanent structures put to them, and that's what manufactured homes are. So we are just confirming that in our ordinance. And that you can't stay there for more than 30 days because they are not designed for permanent structures. They must be in a separate and approved section. So you won't be able to have a recreational vehicle next to a mobile home. They'll have to be in their own part of a mobile home park. They'll need their own community. And that's really state statute as well. If an RV community allows campers, and I'm sure you all have seen campers that don't have restrooms or shower facilities, then if they choose to do that, then they will have to provide on-site restrooms, lavatory, and shower facilities. Buzzy asked us today about the sewer dump areas, and that's all part of the state statute. Those are state requirements, so we don't need to write those into ours. And that is it. So if you all have any questions, I'll try and answer them. And if not, if we can get a motion to move this to Planning Commission so that Planning Commission can advertise this, and then you all will have another chance to look at this. If Planning Commission approves it, we will bring it back to you all for your consideration to amend the ordinance to allow this. We do have a developer right now who is very interested in this and is wanting to move on this.
Any questions before we get a motion? Can we get a motion to move this to the Planning Commission?
So moved.
We have a second? Second. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Staton?
Aye.
Commissioner Vowles? Commissioner Pruitt?
All right, thank you, Dawn.
Dawn, I have one question. Case in point, when the downtown sewer separation project, was being done, a lot of the employees of the contractor lived in what I would call RV trailers. However, they were here for upwards of a year with the 30-day mandate that's the maximum.
They can move to another, if you read that, it's to another, so they can move to a different space. What a lot of these places have are, they're called parades, but we were referred to do that so that we don't have permanent living structures, that it, what we can see, and there's actually a article in the San Francisco Times from last week, what happened to an RV park that allowed permanent residency, and now they can't get rid of people. It's become a crime area, and so that was suggesting to us, it's like the number one area where police and fire are called to, because these facilities have become an attractive nuisance to people who unfortunately have moved there and take advantage of the campground situation. So that's one reason it was suggesting to us to put a 30-day limit on it.
Until they give us a chance to check it, make sure that we keep.
Exactly.
That's good.
Clean out the sewage
Yeah.
and, yeah.
Good deal. Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to our commissioners' comments. Commissioner Downs, anything today?
I just got one thing. I know, updated you all on the aquatic center advocates. They have presented to the Tourism Commission, and the Tourism Commission has agreed to take on a feasibility study. They presented to the school board as well, and the school board thought that at this time at least they didn't have legal grounds to be involved with the project, exploring feasibility. The current ask is that the city and the county split the cost of the feasibility study. Estimated that would cost $15,000 for the city. I'm asking, I guess, this commission to accept that plan. I think it's a good deal for us in that we're not taking the lead on it, somebody else is, tourism is. It's one of the projects we'd like to get done, although we don't want to do it alone, I know. Although we'd be funding half of the feasibility study, we're not committing ourselves to any long-term funding of the project at all at this time. That's something that we might have to explore later, but I like that we're not committed to anything, very least before we see a feasibility study on it. I guess my ask to the commission, rest of the commission is, are you okay with that plan and providing that funding to get the feasibility started?
I think we have, is Abby or somebody from the Tourism Commission going to come and speak to us at our next meeting? Is that right? About the same topic?
I'm not sure what their plan is.
I think somebody from tourism or somebody from that group was supposed to come to us maybe at our next meeting in March to make that same ask. I'll tell you, we started discussing something yesterday that could be a possibility, but I'm not sure. I would be in favor of doing a feasibility study or funding half of it, but only after we flush out that first. Because if that were a possibility, if we were able to partner with two other entities and maybe add the structure to an existing property, then we wouldn't need a feasibility study for that part. But if we're not, I'd certainly be willing to move forward and do half of the feasibility study if the county's willing to do half.
I don't know, is there any going forward with it if we don't do a feasibility study at any point?
I don't know. Commissioner Pruitt, what's your thoughts?
Well, I was real excited to Evansville, built theirs over there.
Yeah.
And that makes it almost, harder, but, I've always wanted a better swimming structure for, Henderson. And I don't know if what they're trying to build is fitting in with the ideal that I have for the public, but if, you guys are willing, we need to study, I'll be willing to go for it and get it out so we know everything we're going into it.
I think if we're to take formal action on it, I think it would probably be appropriate to wait until we have our full board here, just to hear the opinions of everybody. But it seems like there's a consensus at least to talk about it at our next meeting.
We get it up there and get it hashed out a little bit more and go forward with that.
Anything else today, Commissioner Bell? Nothing else? All right, Commissioner Pruitt?
Yeah, I've got one, Buzzy, I don't know, on Gage Street, you know where the guy ran off the cliff and hit the Lindale project? You know, I was born and raised there, up on Gage Street, and nobody has ever, I mean, in history, I don't believe has ever run off that. Everybody knew it was a curve there. So I happened to be out on my rider, and I went back over there, and that's the first time I've seen it. They got a beautiful, little blocking there, so in case another car comes, it prevents it from going over. Yeah. Exactly. I'm glad, and it's got the red lights, but the one thing I think we need, besides that, you need to have a sign that says there's a curve there. There's no sign. Even with that there, it doesn't tell anybody that's not familiar with that road does not go straight, it goes curved. But you will see that, and that was great. But I was thinking, right on the left-hand side, if they put just a little sign, yellow sign that says curved, it might help. But, you know, when my brother called me and said, you can't even believe what happened, the guy went over straight, he said, all the time we've been living here, nobody's ever done that, you know. But, we could get a curve, I was thinking, looking at a curve, but just say a curve ahead or whatever, you know, when you see a curve. But
Commissioner Pruitt, thanks to Brian Williams, Police Department, Fire Department responded to that accident. Very fortunate that no one was seriously hurt or killed. To be proactive, Brian Williams had a contractor install the guardrail. And I think I just saw you do a thumbs up. You're okay with putting up signage?
Yeah, we'll put a curve arrow there,
that,
or something there.
yeah, but that, when I went down and seen that, I said, that was awesome. That would protect anybody from going over again, you know.
Do you have anything else, Commissioner?
That's it.
All right, and I just have one small thing. There's a lot of things that we have to consider as a city, and government and employer, when it comes to public health. You know, how many cases of COVID that we have, and it affects other decisions that we have. I've noticed in the last week, Walmart went mask optional for their employees. The county's been mask optional for a while. The school system just went mask optional. Carnival Cruise Line just went mask optional yesterday. And so I would like for our staff to really take a look at, between now and next meeting, what our numbers are and what kind of sense it would make to go mask optional for the city as well, sooner than later, if we can, just to take a look at it in conjunction with our health department and see if we can't get that accomplished.
Can I respond to
Yes,
that?
oh, yes, please.
Donna Senate advised today that Henderson County has gone into the orange, so we've come out of red, going to orange. Hopefully, in the next 2 weeks, we may progress to yellow. And what I would like to do is, by our next meeting, we'll give enough time to look at the numbers and give you all an opinion at that time.
Sounds great. Sounds great. Thank you. Thank you all for attending, and for people watching at home. If there's nothing else, I have a motion to adjourn.
Before we adjourn, I just want to say you did a good job.
Okay.
That's good.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. We've got to make a 4 o'clock meeting though, so if we, do we have a motion to adjourn?
Second.
All right, got a motion and a second. All in favor, aye?
All right.
All right, meeting adjourned. Thank you.